This is breaking news from KSL.
Good afternoon. Breaking this hour, lawmakers on Utah's Capitol Hill expressing their growing concern with the Utah Attorney General's office. KSL has learned that more than a dozen have signed a letter formally asking for an audit of the office and Attorney General Sean Reyes.
News specialist Lindsay Aerts obtained this letter and reports lawmakers are specifically asking for auditors to look into Reyes' relationship with Operation Underground Railroad founder Tim Ballard. Lindsay, what exactly does this audit do?
Yeah, well, that's one of their main concerns. This is a legislative audit, so what it does is allow for lawmakers to issue the state auditors to go in and take a look at the Utah Attorney General's office. Now, these state performance audits happen all the time. What makes this one significant is it's signed by more than 24 lawmakers from both Republican and Democratic parties, along with both chambers of the House, the House and Senate. Now, the lawmakers are specifically asking auditors to look at 4 things from this letter that we obtained. First, the governance of the office, how legal and administrative decisions are made. Second, they want to know about the AG's travel policies and practices of the office. They're also looking into the culture of the AG's office and whether staff feel it's being run efficiently. And finally, lawmakers want state auditors to find out if the relationship between the nonprofit OUR founder, their movie, Sound of Freedom, or Tim Ballard involved any state resources, and whether the AG was engaged with any outside prosecutors, or if that relationship impaired his judgment on prosecutorial discretion. Now, State Senator Mike McKell, who I spoke with, signed his name to this letter. He says there is growing concern about how the AG's office is being run.
Typically, an audit's going to have 1 or 2 legislators that'll sign on to it. Having a number that's significant is unique, and it signals to me that there's real concern right now with the Attorney General's office, specifically with the Attorney General.
Now, Attorney General Sean Reyes' office declined to comment at this time. However, in past statements, he has called the allegations of witness tampering against him, quote, baseless. Right now, we are standing outside of the Legislative Audit Subcommittee meeting, and this is the committee that will decide whether this audit moves forward. Again, you guys, this meeting happening upstairs as we speak. As soon as we know whether this audit is approved, we'll bring it to you. But I will tell you, I ran into one key member of the Audit Subcommittee, and I asked him point blank, are you going to approve this audit? And without hesitation, he said, oh yeah. We'll bring you more. For now, live at 4, I'm Lindsay Aerts. Back to you.
Yeah, keep on top of this. Lindsay, thanks for all that information. Appreciate it. We're also following more breaking news this hour
About this deadly plane crash.
Utah's legislative leaders have just approved issuing a state audit of the Utah Attorney General and his office.
News specialist Lindsay Aerts has been monitoring that meeting, but before it even happened, they obtained a letter from 24 lawmakers detailing what they want from this audit. Lindsay, what'd they say?
Yeah, now, Debbie, this letter came from lawmakers to the State Audit Committee, basically asking them to look into the AG's office, to have state auditors go and investigate some very specific questions. So we obtained a copy of that letter and have more on what it says. Frustration brewing on Utah's Capitol Hill.
I think there is growing concern that the Attorney General is simply not interested in the job as Attorney General.
Lawmakers now calling for a performance audit. 24 lawmakers signed a letter asking the audit committee to approve it from both parties and both chambers.
15 members of the House, you had 11 senators, and that's why you see an audit right now.
The ask is for 4 specific areas of concern: the governance of the AG's office and how legal and administrative decisions are made, the travel policies and practices of the office, the culture of the AG's office, and whether staff feel it's being run efficiently. And finally, lawmakers want state auditors to find out if the relationship between the nonprofit founder of OUR, their movie, Sound of Freedom, or Tim Ballard involved any state resources, and whether the AG was engaged with any outside prosecutors, or if his relationship with Ballard impaired his judgment on prosecutorial discretion. Or the extent to which any relationship AG has with Tim Ballard, the movie, or Operation Underground Railroad used state resources. Do you believe that that's something that happened?
Let's find out. Let's find out.
The ask for the audit came from Representative Ken Ivory. He says this has been in the works for the better part of a year.
This isn't because of what we've seen from that Operation Underground Railroad particularly, but that has raised questions, and so that just adds to the interest that we have.
In a statement, the Utah Attorney General's office says, quote, "We welcome working with legislative auditors to get them the information they seek. We are confident they will see what we already know. The Office of the Utah AGO does great work. We are proud of our personnel, leadership, and the cases we file to protect the people of Utah." And while this audit was approved today, it could take months before any results come back.
This just is going to help us see if we need to do any course corrections, and it'll give us the information we need to assess what, if anything, might need to be done with that office.
Yeah, you guys, so we don't exactly know when this audit will start, but we can report to you tonight that it is coming. Again, just upstairs here at the Capitol, the audit committee approving this request for a state audit, a performance audit into the Utah Attorney General's office. Reporting live, Lindsay Ertz, KSL-5 News.
Lindsay, thank you much. It has been 3 months since Sheriff, thank you.
New tonight, a Pleasant View man has been charged with killing a man and shooting 2 others, including his brother. 19-year-old Richard Caballero was charged this afternoon with aggravated murder, along with several other charges in the deadly shooting that happened Sunday in Ogden. Court documents show that the shooting started as an arranged fight, but when shots were fired, Caballero realized his brother had been hit and drove him to the hospital, and that's where police found and started questioning him. If convicted, Caballero faces up to life in prison.
To Harriman tonight, where a federal...
State auditors today turned their focus on the Attorney General. The board approved a request from 26 lawmakers to look into how the AG's office operates, his travel, and his relationship with Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad. It'll take months before the results of the audit are public. Sean Reyes is optimistic tonight. In a statement, his office said, "We welcome working with legislative auditors. We are confident they will see what we already know. The Office of the Utah Attorney General is doing great work."
When you fight to keep something this basic from the public, you have to wonder what's in it.
Tonight, the KSL investigators take us inside a lengthy effort to understand how Reyes spends his time working for Utah taxpayers. That public records fight for the Attorney General's calendar started a year ago.
And as KSL investigator Daniela Rivera reports, it is now heading to court.
Voters elect them. Taxpayers fund their salaries. They're in office to serve you. But what are state leaders up to on a daily basis? That's what Attorney General Sean Reyes is fighting to keep secret. It's
unfortunate that his office is fighting to keep the public from knowing this basic information.
Attorney Dave Ryman is representing KSL in our efforts to access Reyes' calendar.
We think if his office were really committed to transparency, they wouldn't be fighting this fight.
Our request prompted by questions from Utahns after Reyes drew public criticism for multiple trips while in office. In 2020, he went to Las Vegas and raised alarm but no proof of what he called voting irregularities. Last year, he scored a free trip to the World Cup on a foreign government's dime, and campaign finance records show he went hog hunting and stayed in a luxury resort. Now he's in the spotlight again for his close ties to Utah charity Operation Underground Railroad and its founder, Tim Ballard, now facing multiple lawsuits. Reyes traveled with the group to this Colombian beach in 2014 for a sting operation.
Liberating victims.
An experience he spoke about at the Republican National Convention in 2020. Outside of those splashy trips and curated social media posts, knowing how Reyes spends his time is harder to track. His office refused to release his calendar to the KSL investigators last November, arguing it's not a record subject to GRAMA, Utah's public record law. But we disagree. That calendar containing his work appointments is hosted on the public office's email system. KSL producer Annie Knox took our argument to Utah State Records committee in May, where Reyes' office argued against releasing the calendar, saying it combines both his personal and professional appointments.
Think about how inconvenient it would be to try and keep two separate calendars.
Utah State Records Committee sided with the KSL investigators, saying Reyes can redact his personal calendar entries, but ordered the release of his professional schedule back in May. The AG's office appealed that ruling to 3rd District Court.
He's essentially forcing the people of Utah to go through protracted legal proceedings just to find out if he's doing his job the way the public is entitled to have him do it.
It's a choice within Reyes' legal rights, but one Ryman calls disappointing.
He's a public official. He's doing the public's business, or at least he should be. And the public is entitled to know what he's doing with his time and with taxpayer money.
Reyes' office did not wish to comment for this story. His campaign, however, did send a statement noting that no taxpayer dollars are used for campaign events and travel. The KSL investigators will continue to pursue access and transparency now in court, and we'll keep you updated. Mike and Deanie.
All right, Daniela, thank you. New leader for Utah's House of